Imagine a vast stage. Upon it, a grand play unfolds. This play involves millions of people, it spans generations. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was this stage. It was more than a country, it was an idea to reshape society, an idea to change the world. Its rise was dramatic, its fall, equally so. We will explore this colossal human experiment, the USSR. 4 letters that once commanded global attention. They represented a superpower, a giant on the world map. For nearly 70 years, this entity existed. It challenged old ways. It proposed new paths. Its influence stretched across continents, from Eastern Europe to Asia. Its story is woven into the fabric of the 20th century. Understanding its journey is understanding a key part of our recent past, a past that still shapes our present and our future. This journey starts in a time of great upheaval. The early 1900s were a period of empires clashing. Old orders were crumbling. This yearning would ignite a revolution. The Russian Empire in the early 20th century was vast. It stretched across 2 continents, a colossal landmass. But beneath its imperial grandeur, deep problems festered. The Tsar ruled with absolute power. Most people were poor peasants. They worked hard land. They had few rights, few hopes. Industry was growing, but slowly. Workers faced harsh conditions. This created a fertile ground for revolutionary thoughts, a desire for a fundamental shift in power. The ideas of Karl Marx, a German philosopher, spread. He wrote about a struggle between classes, the workers, or proletariat, versus the owners, the bourgeoisie. Marx predicted workers would eventually rise up. They would create a new society, a communist society, no private property, no exploitation, resources shared by all. These ideas found eager ears in Russia's intellectuals and workers. The year 1917 was a turning point. World War I was raging. Russia suffered terrible losses. The people were tired of war. They were hungry. Protests erupted in the cities. Soldiers joined the people. The Tsar, Nicholas II, was forced to give up his throne. This was the February Revolution. The old order collapsed. Vladimir Lenin was the chief architect of this new state. He was a revolutionary thinker, a determined leader. He believed in Marx's ideas. He adapted them to Russia. His vision was a state controlled by the Communist Party. This party would guide the workers towards communism. The first steps were drastic. Private land was seized, factories were nationalized, the state took control. These actions sparked a brutal civil war. The Russian Civil War lasted for several years. The Bolsheviks, known as the Reds, fought many enemies. These enemies, the Whites, were supported by foreign powers. The country was torn apart. Millions died. But the Red Army, under Leon Trotsky, eventually triumphed. Lenin's government consolidated its power. It was a harsh victory. The dream of a worker's paradise was born in conflict. The cost of this birth was already immense. In 1922, a new entity was formally declared, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. It was a federation of several Soviet republics. Russia was the largest and most dominant among them. After Lenin's death, Joseph Stalin rose to power. He was a cunning political operator. He outmaneuvered his rivals. By the late 1920s, Stalin was the undisputed leader. His rule would transform the Soviet Union and scar it deeply. He abandoned Lenin's NEP. He launched a new path, a path of rapid industrialization and forced collectivization. He aimed to turn a peasant society into an industrial giant. The scale of his ambition was matched only by its brutality. Stalin's 5-year plan set ambitious targets. New factories were built, mines were dug, dams constructed, cities grew rapidly, tractors replaced wooden plows on some farms. The Soviet Union made huge industrial leaps. It became a major producer of steel, coal, and electricity. This was achieved through immense effort and immense sacrifice. Workers faced harsh discipline, long hours, low pay. The state demanded everything for the goal of industrial power. Agriculture was forcibly reorganized. This was collectivization. Small peasant farms were merged into large collective farms. Many peasants resisted. They did not want to give up their land. The state responded with force. Resistors were punished. A nation tested, a superpower born. In 1939, World War II began. The Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact with Nazi Germany. In June 1941, Hitler invaded the USSR. The Soviet Union fought for survival. The Battle of Stalingrad was a turning point. Section 6. A world divided, the Cold War and the atomic shadow. After World War II, the wartime alliance fractured. The United States and the Soviet Union had different visions, different ideologies, different systems, capitalism versus communism. A new kind of conflict began, the Cold War. It was not a direct hot war between the two giants. Instead, it was a struggle for influence, for global dominance. It was fought through proxy wars, arms races, propaganda. The world split into two opposing blocks. An Iron Curtain, as Winston Churchill called it, descended. It divided Europe, West versus East, democracy versus communism. Germany itself was divided. Berlin became a flashpoint city. The Soviet Union established communist governments in Eastern Europe. These nations became Soviet satellite states. The USA responded with policies of containment, to stop the spread of communism, to support its allies. The tension was immense. The fear of a new world war loomed. The development of atomic bombs changed everything. The USA used them in 1945. The USSR tested its own in 1949. This began a terrifying nuclear arms race. Section 7: The weight of an empire, stagnation and cracks within. By the 1970s, the Soviet Union appeared stable, powerful. Under Leonid Brezhnev, it projected an image of strength. Its military was vast, its global influence significant. It supported communist movements around the world. It seemed like a permanent fixture on the global stage. However, beneath this surface, problems were growing. The system was becoming rigid, less adaptable. The initial revolutionary zeal had faded into bureaucracy. The Soviet economy faced serious challenges. Central planning, once a tool for rapid industrialization, became inefficient. It struggled to meet consumer needs. Shortages were common. Long lines for basic goods were a part of daily life. The focus on heavy industry and military spending starved other sectors. Innovation slowed. Quality of goods often lagged behind the West. The economy was not keeping pace. It was stagnating. This bred discontent, though often unexpressed. The political system also suffered from rigidity. The Communist Party maintained its tight grip on power. There was little room for dissent or open debate. Leaders grew old in office. New ideas struggled to emerge. Section 8: Whispers of Change, Gorbachev's Gamble. In 1985, a new leader emerged in the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. He was younger, more dynamic. He recognized the deep problems facing the country. He knew that without significant reform, the USSR could falter. Gorbachev launched two bold initiatives, Perestroika and Glasnost. Perestroika meant restructuring. It aimed to reform the economy, to introduce market-like mechanisms, to improve efficiency. It was an attempt to revitalize the stagnant Soviet system. Glasnost meant openness. This was a call for more transparency, more freedom of speech, more public discussion of problems. Censorship was relaxed. Past crimes of the state were discussed. Political prisoners were released. New voices were heard. Gorbachev hoped these reforms would strengthen socialism, make it more humane, more responsive to the people. He did not intend to dismantle the Soviet Union, but these changes unleashed forces he could not fully control. The new openness allowed long-suppressed issues to surface. Nationalist sentiments grew in various Soviet republics: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Georgia, Ukraine, others. They began to demand more autonomy, even independence. Section 9: The Fall of the Titan Legacy of a Lost Union. Gorbachev's reforms had opened a Pandora's box. The forces of change were now too strong to contain. In August 1991, hardline communists attempted a coup. They wanted to stop the reforms, to restore old Soviet power, but the coup failed. Boris Yeltsin, president of Russia, rallied resistance. The people of Moscow stood against the tanks. This event fatally weakened Gorbachev. It accelerated the end. The authority of the Central Soviet government collapsed. One by one, Soviet republics declared their independence. The Baltic states led the way. Others quickly followed. The once mighty Soviet Union was disintegrating. On December 25, 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev resigned. The Soviet flag was lowered from the Kremlin for the last time. The USSR officially ceased to exist. After nearly 70 years, a colossal experiment in social engineering had come to an end. The world map was redrawn. A superpower vanished. The legacy of the Soviet Union is complex. It is vast. It includes remarkable achievements, rapid industrialization, victory in World War II, scientific breakthroughs like Sputnik. It provided free education and healthcare to its citizens.